5 amazing facts you didn't know about South Korea. Living here, we've seen a lot of interesting stuff. From how people talk about North Korea to the crazy hours students study. Today, we're gonna dive into some crazy facts about South Korea that we can share with you living in South Korea for 20 years. Hello everybody, my name is Ade.
Yo, this is David.
Today we're talking about 5 interesting facts you didn't know about South Korea. So, David, let's jump into it.
5 interesting facts. Let's go with the first one. North Korea is still at war with South Korea.
South Korea is still at war with North Korea, however, nobody cares.
Nobody really cares. Whatever happens with the ballistic missile launches, the satellite spy launches, whatever, it looks big on CNN, BBC, because they talk about it all the time. They think it's going to be a big nuclear issue or whatever, right? But South Koreans here, because it's been like this for so long,
correct,
and nothing big has ever happened. You know, I mean, yes, there were cases where soldiers died, but like no civilians were like seriously harmed in any way, unlike the Hamas conflict, for example. And so it's not considered a huge big deal. And living here for the past 10 years, I've never heard of any Korean saying, "Oh, they just launched another missile. It's gonna be something crazy." They never said anything like that.
Nobody's worried about it here. My family, they call me more about it.
Yeah.
Back home in Canada.
I feel like the foreign media, they tend to exaggerate things a little more. And it's definitely, I guess, concerning for the world, the UN, all the intergovernmental organizations. They're more concerned than Korea is.
Right. People are more, when these things are happening in South Korea, when North Korea is doing what they do, nothing changes here. Like no daily life changes here. People still party, go to cafes, walk their dogs.
Right.
You barely even see it on the news. At least I do, and I try to follow the news. So
right. I mean, you see it in the morning news because it happened. They launched something.
For sure, it happens,
but it just happens once in one time in the morning,
and then it moves on.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Another topic, interesting facts that you might not know, is the mandatory military service for men. So in South Korea, all men, if you're born in South Korea, for them, but there are ways to get exempted.
It's really, really hard to get exempted. Usually, people that get exempted are athletes.
Yeah.
If you win a gold medal, you're exempted. If you win...
it's gotta be gold Olympic medal. It can't be a world competition.
It can be. The Asian Cup soccer. Asian Cup soccer.
Asian Cup soccer?
For sure, if they win gold, they're exempted.
I thought it was only Olympics.
No. There's a bunch of other criteria
really?
too. For 100%.
Okay.
Remember Sonny, he got exempted, and that was the Asian Cup versus Japan.
I didn't know he got exempted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you got exempted, and you also get exempted in the Asian games too. Remember the speed skating guys? They messed up and they celebrated too early.
Right.
And they got silver, and they didn't get their army exempted.
Okay. Yeah. So certain games, if they win it.
Yeah, Olympics you have to Olympics there's certain criteria, and other games there's certain criteria.
Oh really? It's not all Olympic gold medals either.
It's not all. That's not only Olympics. It's World Cup. It's Asia Games. It's World Championships. They have a certain criteria.
I see.
And also, certain entertainers I heard can be exempted, but it's very, very, very far in between. And I think it doesn't happen because people don't like it.
I've never heard of any arts industry sector getting exempted because BTS hasn't got one.
Oh, that's true, right? So
they bring in a ton of revenue. Right. In fact, more revenue than Sonheung-min, I think, you know?
Right.
But, you know, it's a controversial issue. Like, who gets the exemption, who gets not.
Right.
So when it comes to these military exemption issues, people are they go crazy about it.
Because everybody has to do it, and they don't want anybody else to have special treatment.
Exactly.
All right.
So that was another one. Let's go over the birth rate issues. Number 3. So South Korea has one of the lowest birth rates in the world. Some people even worry that the population could get extinct, pretty much.
Yeah.
First country to go extinct is South Korea by year 2750.
Right.
So we still have a lot of time.
What do you mean? Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, I won't be concerned about this. To be honest with you, I'm not,
Nobody feels like it's their problem, and that's the problem.
That's the problem, yeah. So if we don't act now, if we don't rebound from this declining curve to upward curve, of the birth rate, I mean, Korea's gonna be screwed.
They have their own like department, the governmental department dedicated to this sole issue because it's so huge in Korea. And no matter what they do, they can't solve the problem. They have thrown millions and billions of dollars into this problem. But from what people tell me is until the culture changes, and no matter how much money you throw at a problem, if the culture doesn't change, it's not gonna change. People in Korea do not want to have kids. And because of that, if you walk on the street, you do see strollers. And when I see strollers, I always look in them.
Yeah.
It's always a cute dog.
It's a puppy.
It's barely a baby. It's rarely ever a baby.
Right. So what's the issue? Why do you think this is this culture issue is preventing South Koreans to wanting babies?
To sum it up real quickly, in my opinion, I'm not Korean, from the outside looking in, people attribute this to the economy, buying housing prices, how women are viewed upon in the workplace. They even ask you, well, it kind of changed, but they might still ask you if you're going to get pregnant if you're a woman in the job interview. And if you say yes, that will definitely affect your chances of getting hired. Women want to keep their careers and they're expected to take care of children. But also what I think for young people is young people want everything to be perfect. They want a certain standard of living kind of right away. They don't want to work to it. And they see all the hard work that their parents did and they're like, I don't want to do that. And they kind of just opt out to it, and they will get married or they will just want to have a long relationship and have a good time with their partner.
All right, let's move on to our fourth fact that you didn't know, the intense study culture. So students in South Korea study a lot, sometimes from morning till midnight, especially true when they're getting ready for big tests to get into university. We heard about the CSAT, the College Scholastic Aptitude Test.
Right.
So,
do you know what I say? I say, not even the president of the United States is busier than a Korean kid. Like Korean kids in Korea are the most busiest people I've ever seen in my life.
They're like celebrities, man.
Yo, they finish school. And from school, they go directly to private academies. Either it's going to be English, swimming, taekwondo, and robot building, instruments. And then after that, they go home and they study more and do their homework. And it's not uncommon for kids to go to bed midnight or even past midnight.
Yeah, that's the problem. They sleep so little. They sleep so little.
Right.
And it's concerning kind of because it's you know, if your child is growing and your child is not sleeping enough, they're not going to grow taller too.
Right.
So a lot of the biological issues are intertwined with this work study culture as well.
Right. And I definitely want to let people know, high school kids, they probably have it the worst. High school start, I think, at 8 a.m., around 8 a.m., but kids get there around 7 a.m. to get ready and like study before class starts. And then school finishes around normal time, but then they have yaja, I think it's called. Yaja is where like extra studying, self-study, and they do that. So if you hop on the subway around 10 p.m., 11 p.m., you'll see a bunch of high school kids just on the train going home.
Yeah.
Right? And that is very normal. And even some of my friends years ago, Saturday school was common. You went to school on Saturday.
Right.
Right. And they just stopped that like maybe before we came to Korea. It was very common.
Yeah, Saturday schools. So CSAT is definitely big here in South Korea. This is when all the high school graduates going into college, they stress out so much. I've seen kids getting bald spots. They're teenagers.
Alopecia, right.
They get like, stress bald spots on their head. They get stressed out from that, so then they can't focus on studying too. And then hagwon. So imagine all the money that's being put into these kids, So it's not just like the kids are having a tough time, but the parents, they're working their butt off to support their child's education. So a lot of different assets intertwined into this one. Let's quickly move on to our another topic here.
Number five,
high-tech society. So we know South Korea is really high-tech, advanced in technology. First to get the 5G communication network.
Right.
So I was able to actually switch my iPhone to a Note 2 or Note 10 Plus when it first came out with the 5G tech. I got to experience that super fast. Right? I mean, LTE itself is fast anyway, but 5G kind of makes it allows you to download like 4K videos in a minute or two. So it's that fast. But then all the infrastructure, the logistics here, everything is super fast, super handy, easy for the consumers to live.
I will say this, the baseline technology here is amazing. Again, I've came here 10 years ago, and when I came 10 years ago in Toronto, in Canada, there was no internet service or data service or phone service on the subways. And in Korea, when I came here, I'm like, how's everyone using their cell phones? Like, they're looking at me like I'm an alien. I'm looking at them like they're aliens, right? And it's super common here just to be on your phone throughout the subway, using your phone. All the major carriers have Wi-Fi connection, free Wi-Fi connection on the subways. Where in Canada, you're waiting for that peak where the train goes above ground for like a few minutes to text your friends and whatnot. And they've been having that for over 10 years.
You know, another thing about high-tech stuff, when I first came here to teach English to students here, right, we visited like certain schools with like smart tech in classrooms.
Right.
I'm used to seeing like, this was 10 years ago when I first came to Korea. I saw in schools using these light head projections with a clear transparent thing to showcase overhead, right? I came to Korea, none of it. It's all digital, man.
Everything's
touchscreen TV, smart board. So you touch a board and it interacts with the computer as well, the main computer. And you can draw on it, you can delete it, all digital, markers too. Man, who still uses whiteboard and chalkboard, right? So that's old age stuff.
Super outdated.
Yeah.
Let's jump into the bonus.
All right, bonus. So I love this one, no tipping culture.
No tipping.
So did you know that in South Korea, you don't need to leave a tip? So tipping isn't a thing in South Korea, and sometimes it can be seen as rude to leave extra money behind. But if you do with good intent and with proper communication that this is just for you because you know, because of your extra service, and you're doing this because of me, because I requested this service, and you leave them extra tip, they appreciate that. I do this all the time with taxi drivers.
Right.
Like, let's say it came out to like 9,000 won. I give them a $10 or $10 bill, and I told them, you know, I don't need the change. Thank you for the safe drive home.
Right. The reason why I love tipping here, and I do it sparingly, but I love doing it because it actually feels like I'm giving a tip. It doesn't feel obligated.
Yeah.
And I do it when I actually get good service, or they go above and beyond, and they don't expect it, right? So it actually feels like you're giving a good tip. Now I understand why we have tipping culture back home, and that's another whole video, another discussion, but when I give a tip here, I really do feel good about it. It's a different feeling as opposed to back home.
It's a different culture in itself, because Korea never had this tipping culture in the first place, but Canada, America, it's a must. It's like a mandatory thing. So like, even if you didn't like the service, because it's like a mandatory thing,
you still have to give a tip.
Because you might get blacklisted from that restaurant, right? And they might spit in your food. So you have that worry. So you give them 20% tip. In South Korea, because there's no tipping culture laid out, but then you lived in America, you lived in Canada, so you're used to the tipping culture. And if you do tip them, they appreciate it from time to time.
Perfect.
I've seen bars with like tipping jars. You've seen that too, right?
Yeah, they have a tipping jar. You can just put it in there, but they never ask for anything.
No, they don't.
Right. Fantastic.
All right.
So what do you think about these interesting facts? Did you know them all? Did we leave anything out? Let us know in the comments below. And if you like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and tell your friends. Bye for now.
Peace out.